So now it's time to test out this waterfall that I've been working on for the past couple months. This project started out as a way to remove the rainwater from the patios and the roof of the house and get it down into the river, mostly just to avoid damage from the high volume of water that we get during the rainy season. The house is being built up above that rock wall. So we'll head up the waterfall here and see how this whole system was supposed to work, or is supposed to work. I had the guys build this canal which runs from the base of the rock wall up at the top, which goes to the top of the rock waterfall. And here's a reverse. I'm standing on the rock wall now, looking down at the canal. There's two 8-inch pipes that are tunneled through the wall, and now we're on the other side of the wall, and these pipes wrap around the house with upright pipes that will take all the rainwater from all the patios, and also the pipes continue up to the roof. There will be a dam on the roof that forces the water down the two 8-inch pipes that are on either end of the roof line. So the initial purpose of putting in rock work was simply to prevent erosion from the high volume of water that will be coming down this clay slope. So I started out by just carving some platforms on it so that I could walk up and down it carrying heavy rocks without risk of death. Next, I defined the pond area at the bottom with the idea of just working my way up the slope from there. This waterfall does not have a plastic liner, and so I constructed it with the idea that there would be a concrete seal underneath all the rocks. Consequently, I used quite a lot of concrete. The closer I got to the top, the steeper the slope became and the less stable the ground. And so I adjusted for that by building a series of concrete and rebar platforms and walls. And I then constructed the rockwork using those platforms and walls as a base. And that brings us up to date. And so today we'll put in the pump and fill the pond and see how it works. So there's two pipes running through the pond retaining wall. The upper one is a 2-inch pipe that'll carry the water up to the top, and the lower one is a 2-inch drain pipe, just for purposes of cleaning the pond. So the 2-inch pipe goes out the back and up along the fence line, where it's just covered with random rocks and rock rubble, so I can get at it if I need to. And up at the top, it takes a right angle and runs behind that top row of rocks. There's water outlets from the pipe in 3 locations that I left unglued so that I could make small adjustments if necessary to the flow of the water to even out the flow of the water down the waterfall. So there's one there, and there's an opening there that's fed by a pipe that's up a little higher. And there's the second outlet, and if I needed to slow down the flow of water, I could turn that outlet so it was facing up, or I could block it slightly with a rock. There's just different ways to reduce the flow from one and thereby increase it from another. And the third outlet points directly up the canal. Meanwhile, back at the pond, down at the bottom of the waterfall, we're looking at the 2-inch drain pipe at the base. It runs through the wall and is attached to a faucet on the outside. And let me grab that piece of wire there. That faucet is, as you notice, is pretty far down, and so in order to operate it, I have this piece of PVC with notches cut in it that fit over the faucet handle, and that way I can reach it and turn it without having to crawl down in there. And the plumbing is still in progress, but it's time to test this out before I go any further on finishing the rock work over the top of the plumbing pipes. So finally, here's the pump I'll be putting in there to test out the waterfall. And this is a water rebirth pump. I'll put the link to that company or to where you can buy these pumps in the video description. These pumps come for a wide range of applications, I think from 2,000 gallons per hour up to 24,000 gallons per hour. This particular pump is rated at 9,000 gallons per hour. I'm not going to bore you with the math involved in selecting a pump, but if you have a question about that, I'd be happy to answer it. Just put it in the comments section. The pump arrives with a fitting for a 2-inch pipe, and the threaded side screws into the pump and the barbed side connects with a hose clamp to a 2-inch hose or to an adapter to a 2-inch pipe. And in my case, I'm using a piece of radiator hose that's exactly 2 inches and fits perfectly on that. It's made for a truck, and it was quite a bit longer, but it was a piece of radiator hose that had pretty close to a right angle. It does have an upward slant to it, and so I had to be sure to match that slant when I put the pipe through the retaining wall of the pond to make sure that was going to sit flat and fit onto that pipe that ran through the wall. I also purchased separately this mesh bag. Comes in a variety of sizes, and I'm going to use it to go over the top of the intake cover on the pump to keep it from sucking up any gravel and sticks and debris, because I do get quite a lot of that coming down the canal from the work site up above. So I cut a small slit in this bag so that it would fit over the opening at the top of the pump. I'll just pinch that around the seal where the pipe fits, and so that when I screw that down, it'll hold that mesh bag in place. And it also has a cord lock that I will tighten down. To go back a moment to the math I said I wasn't going to bore you with, the rating of the pumps is in gallons per hour with no load. But if I just stuck this pump in the pond, it would blast water out the top at 9,000 gallons an hour. And then there's a method of figuring out how much you lose in gallons per hour based on the height of your waterfall and the length of the pipe run and how many right angle turns there are. I thought I should mention that because when I put this pump into the pond and turn it on, what you'll be seeing on the waterfall is right around 4,500 gallons per hour because of the reduction from the load placed on the pump. So let's get a little water in the pond and fire this thing up and see what we got.